You open the door, expecting to see the girl you think you've seduced. You've been sneaking behind her sister's back, thinking you're clever, thinking you're irresistible. But instead of a flirty smile waiting for you, you're face to face with the sister you betrayed. And then, your worst nightmare plays out in real time. If you've ever dreamed of watching a cheater get the rug pulled out from under them, hit that like button, subscribe, and buckle in. Because this is the story of how my little sister and I turned heartbreak into the kind of revenge that still makes me smile every time I think about it. I have a younger sister. She's not just family, she's my closest friend, my partner in crime, the person I'd do anything to protect. She's the kind of girl who believes in love with her whole heart. The kind of girl who, when she gives herself to someone, doesn't hold back even a little bit. So when she started dating him, let's call him Ryan, she was all in. And at first, I'll admit, Ryan seemed decent, charming even. He had the easy smile, the attentive texts, the sweet little gestures like surprising her with coffee before class. He made my sister feel like she was living inside a fairy tale romance. But fairy tales have villains, don't they? Little signs started creeping in. A text he wouldn't explain. Nights where he'd disappear, claiming he was busy with work. The way his eyes darted when my sister asked something simple like, "Where were you?" And then one night, it all shattered. I still remember it. My sister burst into my room, sobbing so hard she could barely breathe. Her mascara had run down her cheeks, her hands were trembling as she tried to explain between gasps. He's with someone else. He admitted it. He just left me. I pulled her into my arms, feeling her entire body shake against mine. And in that moment, a wave of helpless rage swept through me. I could feel her heart breaking, like every sob was a knife in my chest. And I hated him. Hated how easily he tossed her aside. Hated how smug and casual he was about it. Like my sister's love was nothing more than a disposable toy he'd grown bored with. For days after, I watched her fade. She barely ate. She'd just sit there staring at her phone like if she stared hard enough, maybe he'd apologize. Maybe he'd realize what he lost. But he didn't. He was out, laughing, partying, already moving on with his next girl. And me? I was done. Done watching my sister suffer while that jerk walked around free of consequences. That's when something inside me snapped. I couldn't change what he did to her, but I could make sure he paid for it. I started by planting the bait. A simple text. "Hey, I need your help with something. Can I call?" It was casual enough, innocent enough, something any older sister might say. And would you believe? He responded immediately. At first, he kept it polite, almost awkward, like he knew it was risky to be chatting with his ex's sister. But over time, his tone shifted. He started dropping little comments. You're actually really funny. You look great in that picture you posted." And slowly, I played along. Not too much, just enough to keep him interested. A laugh here, a compliment there. Inside, I wanted to gag. Every time I sent him a flirty message, I had to fight the urge to throw my phone across the room. But the more I reeled him in, the more satisfying the plan became. Because I wasn't just talking to him, I was documenting everything. Every disgusting line he dropped, every attempt at flirting, every desperate emoji. All saved. He thought he was winning me over. In reality, he was building his own coffin. After a couple weeks of this charade, I decided it was time to spring the trap. So I sent the message that sealed his fate. "Why don't you come over? Just the two of us. No one will know." His reply? Instant. "When?" He didn't hesitate, not even for a second. I gave him the address, my address. And that night, my sister and I prepared. We rehearsed it like a play. She'd be hidden in the kitchen when he walked in. I'd keep my cool, let him step into his own arrogance. And then, once he was comfortable, bam. Lights on. Sister enters. Trap sprung. I'll never forget that night. He showed up practically bouncing, grinning ear to ear like a teenager sneaking into forbidden territory. He even sprayed cologne. Too much, like he thought I'd be impressed. I opened the door, leaning against the frame like I was casual, like this was normal. Wow, he smirked, his eyes roaming over me in a way that made my skin crawl. You look amazing. Come in, I said, forcing a smile. He stepped inside, rubbing his hands together like he was about to unwrap a present. He had no idea, because right there, just around the corner, my sister was waiting. I let him sit down on the couch, make himself comfortable. He leaned back, stretched his arms, even tried the classic, "So, should we talk in your room?" line. And that's when I gave the signal. My sister stepped into the room, the look on his face, priceless. He froze mid-sentence. His smirk slid off his face like melting wax. His eyes went wide, darting between me and my sister as his brain tried to compute what was happening. Sarah? He stammered. What are you doing here? My sister didn't flinch. She didn't cry. She didn't scream. Instead, she reached into her pocket, pulled out her phone, and hit play. And suddenly, the room filled with his own words. Every disgusting message he'd sent me, every late-night text, every emoji, all read out loud by that cold, robotic text-to-speech voice. He paled. He stuttered. He tried to grab at my phone, shaking his head. It's not what it looks like, I swear. I was just joking around. But the evidence was undeniable. My sister stepped closer, her eyes locked on his, and in the calmest, coldest voice I've ever heard her use, she said, "You didn't just lose me. You lost both of us. And guess what? Every word you wrote is saved. So go ahead, try explaining that to your next girlfriend." He opened his mouth, closed it again, completely speechless. His face burned red, his bravado crumbling like ash, and then my sister pointed to the door. "Get out. No yelling, no tears, just power." He left, quickly, like a dog with his tail between his legs. When the door clicked shut, the silence hung heavy for a moment. Then my sister turned to me, and for the first time in weeks of misery, weeks of self-doubt, she smiled. Not a broken smile, a real one. It was like watching a light turn back on inside her. We collapsed into laughter, the kind of laughter that comes from relief, from release, from knowing justice had been served. That night wasn't just revenge, it was healing. It was a reminder that she wasn't weak, that she wasn't worthless, and that anyone who dared to hurt her would face consequences. Looking back, I don't regret it for a second. He thought he was clever, but in the end, he trapped himself. And maybe the biggest lesson is this: never underestimate the quiet strength of someone you thought you broke, because sometimes they come back stronger, and they're not alone. If this story gave you chills, smash that like button and tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying revenge you've ever witnessed? Don't forget to subscribe for more stories like this, because trust me, the cheaters and liars of the world, they're not safe here.